Good morning, guys. Tony Maritato here, licensed physical therapist, and I want to have some fun today. Let's talk about recliners after total knee replacement. So there is a load of different recliners out there, lots of variety, lots of specifications. I'm going to share my screen in a minute. We'll take a look at a couple that are just found on Google Images. But I want to talk about some of the things to consider when purchasing a recliner. Hopefully, if you're going to purchase one, you're purchasing it before you had your surgery. You're getting comfortable with it. You're making a decision about it because this is something that's probably going to stay with you for years after your recovery. But let's take a look. So there are lots of things to consider. And I actually went ahead and made a list because there's just so much variety here. So one of the first things to think about is, are you looking for a purely mechanical recliner or a power recliner? And just understand that when I talk about a power recliner, there are power recliners that are lift chairs. There's power recliners that recline back and up. There's different kinds of electronic components on recliners. So taking a look at something like this, I can tell you that this is an example of a zero gravity recliner. This one here happens to be priced at $18.99. I don't know anything about the manufacturer or anything. I'm just showing you pictures. But most of these higher priced recliners have a push button that you push and it will take you back into the reclined position. You push the button the other way, it'll set you up, it'll bring the leg rest down. Bringing the leg rest down is an important component. We have owned recliners that it was so challenging to put the leg rest down that even using the arm lever on a mechanical recliner, it was impossible for someone to get the leg rest back down after a knee replacement. Some recliners are so spring-loaded that when you push the button or you go to recline, the leg rest comes shooting up so fast that if you're in the acute stages of recovery, you don't want to go from flexion to extension as quickly as the recliner is going to make you go. So these are factors that you want to consider when purchasing the recliner. Get in them, test them, play with them. Let me see what I've got. So we've got the difference between a power recliner and a manual or mechanical recliner. We've got zero gravity, which if you're going to be spending any amount of time sleeping in the recliner, getting to zero gravity is kind of beneficial. The one you can see here, the leg rest, would be about in line with the patient's heart. I wouldn't necessarily consider that even elevation to reduce swelling, but it's certainly enough elevation to stop the swelling from getting worse. We could put some cushions or a wedge on the recliner to get true elevation, but zero gravity would be a great thing to look for if you're planning on sleeping in the recliner. Another component is look at the height of the armrests. So some recliners, like this is a more traditional recliner out here, they have tall armrests on the side. If you're tossing and turning at night, you might want something to kind of keep you in the seat. This guy right here, let me go a little bit down a little bit. This guy right here looks like for the wrong person, you could potentially just roll over the side armrest and fall on the floor. So we want to think about that when we're looking at buying something that we're going to be sleeping in for a couple weeks, sometimes even longer. Some of the things that I do appreciate about people sleeping in a recliner is that it is adjustable. If you have lumbar stenosis, if you have some breathing issues, snoring issues, sometimes a recliner is actually better than sleeping in a bed. There are love seat recliners. So if you do want your loved one next to you, or you feel like you might need to reach out to them in the middle of the night for some help, if you're really acute post-op surgical, then consider that as well. You know, look for a love seat recliner or bring in a recliner next to the bed. Your loved one is sleeping in the bed, you're sleeping in the recliner. It's a temporary situation, but that's something that could work for you. Talking about lift chairs. So not all lift chairs are created equal. Assuming that you had a good experience with your surgery, assuming that you're returning to better than prior level of function, I don't know that a lift chair is really something that you would care to invest in, but if you want more information about lift chairs, I can record a dedicated video about it. I have been involved in the purchase of several lift chairs for patients planning for the future. And there are components of the lift chair that would be covered by Medicare and other third-party payers. But for a typical total knee replacement in which you expect to recover to better than you were, a lift chair would probably not be recommended for most clients. But that being said, just understand that they are available, and there is a component of the lift chair that would be covered by insurance. We want to think about the material. How easy is it to clean? If you look at a chair like this, that's cloth, canvas, you're going to get sweaty, you're going to get hot, you're going to have all of this potentially blood and sweat and even tears when you're frustrated. I don't know that I want that seeping into some of these materials, so I might consider more of a leather or a vinyl, something that I can wipe down, something that I can clean up easily. But that is something for you to consider. We want to talk about the stability of it. So the recliner that I've got here over on the left side of the screen, it's got 4 stable, steady legs. This is not a rocker. There are other recliners like the one down here that are actually rockers. The challenge with that is during those early stages of recovery, when you're trying to get out of the recliner, because you are going to be consuming water, you are going to have to get up and go to the bathroom every couple hours. You want something stable that you can get out of, that you can push up from. And a rocker, while it may be comfortable while you're reclined, might not be the best option when you're trying to get back up out of the chair. There's one other one. Oh, so the height of the seat, the height of the recliner itself. For a shorter person, you might want a shorter recliner. If the recliner you have is too short, you can get little legs. Let me see if I can, recliner leg lifts. I don't remember what they're called. Yeah, they're these little blocks or these screw-ons that allow you to make a low recliner taller for a tall patient. If you are a short patient and you can't make your recliner shorter, something that you can consider doing is putting a step or a blocks in front of the recliner, maybe a 4-inch step. So like if we remember back to aerobic box step. So something like this that is wide, broad, stable. You wouldn't put it up on risers. It'd be about 4 inches. You could step on that and then step onto your recliner. The only challenge with this is it then tends to be in front of where the leg rest would come up. So you might have to do some finagling with that. But just understand that we want the recliner height to match your body type the best possible. So I always recommend, if you know you're having a knee replacement and you think you might want to get a new recliner or get a recliner for the first time, go to the store. You can check out a medical supply store and you can see what recliners they have in stock. You can see the functionality, you can test them, you can play with them. You can also go to a regular furniture store. I've had great recliners come from Walmart. There's lots of opportunities out there. It's just thinking about these variables. So one more time, just for a review, do we want a power recliner or a manual recliner? Do we want one that goes to 0 gravity if we're going to be sleeping in it? Do we want one that has a lift chair functionality to it? Do we want one that's made of vinyl or cloth, which is going to be more comfortable, which is going to be more easily cleaned? Do we want something that's a stable base that will make it easier for us to get in and out of? Or do we want a rocker that's going to be more comfortable while we're in it? And then finally, what is the height of the recliner? Is it something that we're going to have to get these little blocks to lift it to make it taller? Or are we going to have to find something that we can place next to it or in front of it that functionally makes it shorter? So guys, that's my checklist for anybody who's looking to buy a recliner to prepare for their total knee replacement. But remember, you're getting your knee replaced to get out of the recliner and go do stuff. I wish you the best. I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.